Hey there, and welcome back to Tech Savvy 101, AI and Automation Made Simple. I'm your host, Sarah Baker, your tech savvy bestie, who's here to help you simplify your business, embrace automation, and save hours every week. Today, we're diving into another AI in Action episode, and we're focusing on CastMagic IO, a seriously powerful AI tool that takes any of your audio and video recordings and turns it into repurposable content in just minutes. Anything that you can think of, CastMagic can create for you in just a simple prompt. We're going to explore every nook and cranny of CastMagic, from importing your recordings to repurposing them into a variety of engaging content assets that work perfectly on your blog, your social channels, your newsletters, and even your training materials. Let's get started. Before we dive into the tutorial, let's do a quick deep dive into why repurposing your audio and video recordings is an absolute must. Think about it. Every conversation you record, whether it's a polished podcast episode, a coaching call full of aha moments, a Zoom meeting, or even when you think of your next brilliant idea and you whip out your phone and record a voice note, is pure gold waiting to be mined. That means that every video, no matter how casual, has the power to leave a lasting impression. So imagine this. You're out and about when an amazing idea hits. Instead of letting that spark vanish, you record a quick brain dump onto your phone. That long recording isn't just a fleeting moment. It is a treasure trove of content waiting to be transformed into a blog post, a social media snippet, or even a newsletter update. In fact, according to the Content Marketing Institute, repurposing content can save you up to 60% of your time in content creation. How's that for a time-saving hack? And remember what Bill Gates famously said way back in 1996, content is king. So by repurposing your recording, you're not only extending the life of your content, but you're also amplifying its impact. You're reaching your audience on multiple platforms without reinventing the wheel each time. You're making sure to meet them where they are without having to work harder to find them. Let's put it into perspective with a real-world scenario. Imagine you just wrapped up a dynamic coaching call. It was fire. You are absolutely buzzing with how good it was. Now, if you were to manually go through the recording and extract the juicy nuggets to create a series of content pieces to capitalize on how amazing that content call was, to drive additional signups for your coaching program. Say you want to create a reel, a tweet-worthy quote, a newsletter featuring the call's highlights, a YouTube short to drive signups for this coaching program, and maybe even a long-form blog post with a really compelling CTA to get people to sign up. You could easily spend up to 6 hours doing that, and there goes the rest of your workday. Go ahead and throw your to-do list out the window. But here's the game changer. With CastMagic, that entire process could take just 5 to 10 minutes. Instead of burning hours manually, you get a ready-to-go content arsenal in literally minutes, saving you valuable time and energy. And this is the power of automation and AI working for you, helping you to repurpose every recording effortlessly while you can focus on connecting with your audience and growing your business. So now go get that to-do list that you threw out the window, and you can stay on track with the business of running your business. So whether you're recording a detailed podcast or a quick coaching call or even that spontaneous voice note, know that every recording holds incredibly powerful potential. And it's all about working smarter, not harder, and making every minute count. So if you're ready to unlock that hidden content gold, let's get into it and start the tutorial, because this is, after all, an AI in action episode. Now let's jump into the tool itself. If you're following along, I highly recommend that you check out the YouTube version of this episode. The link is in the show notes. So step 1, you're going to sign up and head to CastMagic IO. Once you're in, you'll see an option to upload your raw audio or video file. One of the things I absolutely adore about CastMagic is its flexibility when it comes to importing your recordings. There are 8 different ways to bring your audio and video files into the system, and each method is designed to keep things simple and intuitive. There's a drag and drop method, so you can drop your files straight from your computer. So if you have the file on your computer, you can just do that. There's the option to upload from Google Drive and other platforms. So if you keep a copy of your audio or video files on Google Drive, you can do that, and you can import directly from Google Drive. You can also upload from YouTube, Vimeo, or even TikTok. So if you have a library of content, this integration will save you a ton of time. If you have a podcast or a YouTube channel, you can upload directly from your RSS feed and pull your content in that way, and your back catalog will stay fresh and update automatically. And if you're recording Zoom meetings or webinars, you can also set up a Zoom integration, so CastMagic will integrate directly with Zoom, and as soon as your call wraps up, your recording is ready to be transformed into new content. They also have an iOS app, so when you're on the go, the Handy app will let you capture content on the fly, which is perfect for those spontaneous moments of inspiration. If you're at a conference or on a walk or having a talk with your friend and you want to record that conversation and then turn that into additional pieces of content. So each of these options is designed to reduce friction and get your content into the system as quickly as possible. So let's review how to upload your files. All you're going to do is go into the website and then click on import new recordings. And then, like I said, you can drag and drop here, import a URL from YouTube, Vimeo, Reels, TikTok, Google Drive, Twitch, Reddit, Wistia, Rumble, or Loom. You can connect your RSS feed. So as you can see, I have my podcast RSS feed connected. And you can also set up a Zapier integration or integrate your Zoom. So if you're a coach and you want to connect your Zoom so that all of your coaching calls are already integrated, this is a great option. Once you've done that, you can manage all of your recordings in your media library. So you can see I have a lot of my podcast episodes in my media library. After you have imported some of your recordings, step 2 is to select your output preferences. So this is where the magic is going to start happening. CastMagic offers multiple output options, including show notes, transcripts, social media captions. The list is almost endless. Really, whatever you can think of, you can get. This is as simple as setting up a prompt. If you know how to prompt ChatGPT, you can set this up. What you're going to do is you're going to go down to prompts. Now, you can see I have a ton of prompts set up. So for each of my pieces of content, I'm getting keywords. I'm getting 30 topical keywords that are covered in this text. I'm having it generate Pinterest keywords because I turn every episode into Pinterest content. So it's generating 10 optimized Pinterest keywords for that piece of content. I'm also asking it to generate Clip Finder. So I'm having it generate hooks, quotes, and timestamps. And the prompt here is write a viral topic title and quote for a podcast episode. I'm having it generate threads. And the prompt here is you are a thought leader in culture. Write 5 short posts about this content for Instagram's new app, Thread, a Twitter clone. Use 300 characters max for each post. No hashtags. I'm also having it generate content starters. Write 5 to 10 conversation starters for a Facebook group to generate discussions about this episode. I'm having it generate key topics and bullets for me. Write a comprehensive sequence of topics covered in this text. Write subtopic bullets below each primary topic. I'm having it generate short-form content script. Given the recording transcript, create an alternative audio voiceover script in a similar tone and style. I'm having it generate titles. Generate up to 10 title variations. Each title should be 15 words maximum. Do not use quotation marks. I'm having it generate reel scripts. Pretend you're an entrepreneur business influencer and you want to make a 30-second voiceover summarizing the audio session you just hosted. Write the script that I could use to make the video. Do not include cues or scene notes. I'm also having it give me conversation feedback. Based on the context, what could the hosts have done in the specific episode to make for a more engaging conversation? I find this one to be really interesting because it's essentially giving me coaching advice, or in this case, podcast advice, and saying, here's how you could be a more engaged podcast host. I'm having it give me questions. Write 10 discussion questions based on this episode. I'm having it write my podcast show notes. This one is a very long prompt because I've also given it my brand voice prompt. So I'm saying write my podcast show notes based on my provided show notes template. So I've given it my template and maintaining my brand voice blueprint. I'm having it write my YouTube video description. So same as the show notes, I've given it my personal YouTube description template, and I've also provided it with my brand voice blueprint to ensure that I have consistent YouTube descriptions. I have several of them disabled right now because I was just getting almost too much content, if there's such a thing. But you could have it write you a custom newsletter. You could have it write you an introduction for your podcast episode. You could have it write you a timestamped overview. I have it writing me my YouTube shorts descriptions as well. You could have it writing you a podcast thank you email. If you have a lot of guests coming on your podcast, this would be a great way to have it write you a custom thank you email. Again, you can provide it with a template that you like. You could have it write you a tweet thread, a LinkedIn post. And these are just some of the ones that I have turned on. You can have up to 70 prompts in your account. There are also a bunch of community prompts. You could have it generate you a social carousel, blog post, write you a lead magnet, custom titles, a host read intro. You could have it generate you a quiz, cold 3-touch email sequence. And these are just some of the other ones that are in the community prompts. But another great way to set this up would be to go maybe over to ChatGPT and say, based off of your niche and your industry, what are the types of content that generate best with my audience? So this is really where the potential is almost limitless. What does your audience respond best to? Is it newsletters? Is it social media? Do they respond best on Facebook or on Instagram? Are they really active on Threads or on Twitter? Whatever your audience responds best to, have CastMagic create that type of content for you. I created the prompt about Pinterest because I'm really trying to lean hard into Pinterest. So I'm having it generate me the keywords, and I will probably create another one to have it help me with titles and descriptions so that for each podcast episode I create, I get keywords, I get titles, I get descriptions, and then all I have to do is pop over into Canva, create a couple of pins, and then the hard work of Pinterest of creating the titles and the descriptions and the keywords is done for me. And then I can just pop into Tailwind and pin the pins. So this is really a huge time saver. So I'm going to pop back over into one of my recordings now to show you how it all works from start to finish. Once your content has been uploaded into CastMagic, the first thing it does is it generates a full transcript of your recording. So now I know you're thinking a transcript, but that sounds boring. But trust me, the transcript is the backbone of everything else you're going to create. CastMagic listens to every word of your recording and converts it into text with truly impressive accuracy. I have tested out multiple tools that create transcripts, and some are much more accurate than others. And then it uses this transcript to automatically generate all of the other assets that I just reviewed. If you need the catchy titles or the key quotes for a LinkedIn post, it's creating all of those other assets based off of this transcript. So the transcript is the core. One of the most important things that you need to do once it has created the transcript is make sure that the speakers are labeled. In this case, I am the only speaker on this episode, so I just had to go in and make sure that I was labeled Speaker A. If it was, say, a coaching call or a podcast episode with a guest, it is very important that the speakers are labeled correctly. So if it was, let's say, a coaching call with you as the coach and 4 students, it is very important that all of the speakers get identified correctly, because let's say you wanted to send out custom action items for each of your students. You could ask CastMagic to draft emails for each student with takeaways and action items for each student, but CastMagic needs to know who each student is on the call, Speaker A, Speaker B, Speaker C, Speaker D, in order to be able to correctly identify which student is getting which action items. Now we're going to talk about one of the coolest features, which is spaces. In CastMagic, spaces are like dedicated folders where you organize your content by project. So imagine you have one space for maybe your podcast episodes and another for coaching calls, and maybe even a separate one for your notes to self, where you whip out your phone and you record a voice note with all of your great ideas for future projects. For example, I have a space set up for all of my podcast episodes, and each space comes with a customizable profile that tailors the AI's output to fit the type of content that you're working with. So this is really where the magic of personalization comes in, and you can set up context prompts within your space to guide the AI. So let's go over that. So here is my space for my podcast. When you are inside of that space, you click on the 3 little dots next to the word My Space, and you can hit Edit. It allows you to name the space. It allows you to label your recordings by number, by season with episode number, freeform or no label. It allows you to change the language, and they support a huge number of languages. It also allows you to set up magic words. So if you have a custom or specific word that you're not sure the AI will know how to spell, you can add the word in here so that the AI will spell it correctly in the transcripts. And you can also provide a context prompt, which is an additional prompt that will be injected into the AI and used to provide specific direction to recordings in the space. The other thing that you can do in spaces is you can set up who has access to each space. So if you have multiple members on your team, but say for your iOS recordings, you only want you to have access to those because those are your brain dump recordings and you don't want anyone on your team to have access to that, you can restrict access to that specific space. By being able to customize each specific space, this level of control not only makes your content feel authentically like you, but it also ensures that every piece of content that comes out of CastMagic, whether it's a social snippet or a detailed blog post or a comprehensive training material, is on brand and maximized to drive results for you and your business. All right, now we're going to get into an even more fun feature, which is editing, clipping, and studio functions. Once CastMagic has processed your recordings and generated the transcript and various content pieces that you've put together through the prompts, you have the ability to fine-tune the content. Let's assume that you've been a guest on a podcast and there's one really golden nugget of wisdom in your conversation that you know is going to spark a ton of engagement on social media. With just a few clicks, you can clip that segment into a standalone audio or video snippet. And this feature is really great for creating teaser clips or quote cards or quick posts that grab attention. So let me show you how. So I'm going to highlight a quote or highlight a section of this episode, and up pops the ability to clip it, audiogram it, image it, or create a caption. I've highlighted the sentence, "Did you know that 68% of all online experiences start with a search engine?" If I clip it, it now says generating, and then allows me to download that clip. So that has identified that specific clip from the longer clip, and now I've got that short clip that I could then turn into a reel or a TikTok or any other type of social media, or even a Pinterest pin or something like that. So the other options are, I could turn it into an audiogram, which is going to look like this. Did you know that 68% of all online experiences start with a search engine? Did you know that and there's the ability to customize this down here. I can change the color, the background, the text. I can change the font. I can remove the watermark, all these fun things. I can change the shape of it to vertical, horizontal, 4x5, 9x16, 16x9. And then I can download that as an export so I can post that. I can add captions. So I could, instead of having it be text, I could have the video with captions. Percent of all online experiences start with a search engine. So it gives you the ability to download these little clips, which is what an audiogram is, so that I could use this to promote the episode. Or again, if it was a coaching call or a Zoom call or any type of audio or video, you could grab these little juicy nuggets and use them to promote and drive traffic. So that's the audiogram, image, or captions and clipping. You can also go up here to create content, and that's where you're going to see all of the prompts and you're going to see all of the output from the prompts. So now you're going to see all of the prompts that I have, specific prompts, the ones I showed you at the beginning of this episode, set to run for all of my content. And then you can always create unique ones for specific audio or video files. But I have the ones that I reviewed at the beginning of the call set to run on all of my content. It's showing you here are my 10 optimized Pinterest keywords for this specific episode. Here are my clip finders. Here are my threads quotes. Here are my conversation starters, topics and bullets. Here's the short form content script. Here are the titles. Here is the Reels script. Here are the conversation feedbacks. Here are the questions. I mean, this is an immense amount of content generated in a matter of a minute. This is a truly insane amount of content. Here's my show notes. Here's my YouTube description. And this is all on brand with the templates that I've provided. So for my show notes, this is exactly the template. For my YouTube description, this is the template. For my YouTube Shorts description, this is the template. So that has just saved me alone for every episode that I record hours. And by providing inside the prompts your brand voice and your templates, it provides that perfect blend of automation and your personal touch, which ensures that every piece of content you get is uniquely you. Next up, let's talk about another one of my favorite features, Magic Chat. This is CastMagic's built-in conversational AI that truly feels like chatting with a friend who's an expert in content creation. If you have a question about a particular segment or you need a fresh idea for a social media post, you just type your question into Magic Chat and you watch it work. Magic Chat isn't just for one-off questions. It is a powerhouse for automation. You can save custom prompts that guide the AI to generate content exactly the way you want it. For example, if you want your LinkedIn posts to start with an engaging question, or you need concise, actionable show notes every time, you can set up your custom prompts once, and then they're automatically applied to every recording inside that space. So it says, welcome to CastMagic Chat. Using the prompt input below, you can ask anything you want about this recording. So right now we are still inside of this specific podcast episode recording. I know all the important concepts of this recording. You can think of me like your personal assistant. Use me to generate new types of content or act as a source for new ideas. It's suggesting things like 10 lessons covered in the event, or 7 key themes, or 3 fun facts, or write me a blog post with 600 words. You can have a conversation inside CastMagic Chat and say, let's do the blog post. It is currently writing me a full blog post about unlocking SEO success with keywords everywhere. Beginner's Guide to Data-Driven Keyword Research. Learn how to demystify keyword research, optimize your content, and attract your ideal audience using the Keywords Everywhere tool. This is crazy. It is a fully written blog post in 30 seconds or less. Let's do 10 lessons covered. And then at the bottom of the blog post, it gave me the option, do I want to add this to my pipeline, save it as a prompt, copy the content, or modify if I wasn't happy with the output. Then it's giving me the 10 lessons covered in the episode, and same thing. Add it to the pipeline, save as a prompt, modify it, copy the content, or delete. The last thing I want to cover is Pages. Pages allows you to take multiple recordings and create content based off of multiple recordings. For example, you can create long-form content based off of up to 5 recordings. So for example, you could prompt it to say, create me a long form blog post based off of this recording. Like, for example, I could combine 4 or 5 of my podcast episodes, or you could combine 4 or 5 different coaching calls or team meetings and have it create you a meeting summary. Or if you were creating a course or a product launch and you wanted to combine multiple recordings from multiple meetings or coaching calls, you could have it listen in to multiple recordings and then create a massive summary. So this is a really powerful feature. inside of Pages to be able to summarize or create a blog post based off of more than one recording. So this is a great option inside of Pages. Before we wrap up, I want to highlight all of the exciting ways that you can use CastMagic within your business. The possibilities are almost endless, and here are just a few ideas to get your creative juices flowing. If you are a podcaster or a content creator, you could transform your podcast episodes into engaging blog posts, social media snippets, detailed show notes. You could repurpose one conversation into multiple pieces of content that extend the life and reach of your podcast, each formatted perfectly for platforms like Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. You can even have CastMagic draft thank you emails for your podcast guests. If you're a coach or a mentor, you could turn your coaching calls into comprehensive training materials or client recaps. You could generate action-oriented session summaries, extract key takeaways, and even create personalized follow-up emails that empower your clients and students to implement what they've learned. Imagine how impressed your students will be when they receive personalized follow-up emails from you after coaching calls with specific takeaways from your call. If you're hosting business meetings or webinars, you could convert internal meetings or webinars into clear, concise summaries for your team. You could share meeting highlights, important quotes, and next steps with a simple share link, making collaboration smoother and more efficient. If you run an agency, imagine how quickly you could generate content for your clients. Whether it's transforming a client's podcast into a blog post or creating branded social media content from a webinar, CastMagic could help you deliver consistent, high-quality content on demand. And quicker than ever before, which is guaranteed to impress your clients and potentially even generate referrals. If you are creating evergreen content, you could repurpose older recordings into fresh content that continues to drive engagement. With CastMagic, even past conversations can be revisited and transformed into updated blog posts, newsletters, or social media campaigns that keep your audience hooked. And if you're using visual storytelling, use the studio function to create stunning visual assets like quote cards or audiograms that make your content pop on platforms such as Instagram and LinkedIn. It is a fantastic way to catch your audience's eye without spending hours on design or having to budget for outsourcing this work. Each of these use cases show how CastMagic can fit into different parts of your content strategy, saving you time and ensuring that every piece of your work delivers real results. Here is your action plan from this episode. 1. Sign up for CastMagic. Head to the show notes of this episode to grab the link and go ahead and start your account. 2. Import your recordings. Choose one of the 8 different import options that fits best for your business. Maybe start with your latest podcast episode or a coaching call or even just one of your notes to sell from your phone. 3, set up your space. Organize your content by creating a space tailored for your needs. Customize it with your context prompt that will help guide the AI to produce content in your unique voice. 4, repurpose and edit. Let CastMagic work its magic by generating transcripts and AI content, then take a few minutes to review and adjust the output so it sounds just right and just like you. 5, share your content. Use the built-in sharing tools and integrations to distribute your repurposed content across your social channels, your email newsletters, your website, anywhere you want to use it. Every minute you save with CastMagic is a minute you can reinvest in growing your business and connecting with your audience. Even if tech sometimes feels intimidating, trust that with the right tools and a little bit of fun, you've totally got this. And there you have it, a complete walkthrough of how to use CastMagic.io to repurpose your audio and video content. This tool is a game changer for saving time, maximizing your content's value, and reaching a wider audience. Thanks so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe and check out the YouTube version of this episode for a hands-on demo. I'll see you really soon.